What's up guys, welcome back to Jades Corner, and in today's video I'm going to be reviewing Alien Romulus. So this is going to be more of a non-spoiler review for maybe the first couple of minutes, and then a spoiler review. I haven't done one of these in forever. These are going to be a mainstay of the channel, coming back as I used to review movies back in 2015, but I kind of wanted to bring them back now just to spice things up and kind of change the content. So Alien Romulus is going to be our first review for the channel moving forward. This movie is about a group of young scavengers who want to find a way off of the planet that they are on, which is owned by the Weyland-Yutani Corporation, and they just want a better life. So in order to do that, they go to this abandoned space station called the Romulus Remus Station, where there are cryopods on there. If you've seen the Alien films, you know what they are, and they want those so that they could have a better chance of going to the planet that they want to go to. And in order to make it there and not die, they need the cryopod so they can go in there, sleep, and stay alive for the trip to that planet. But while on that station, they encounter the face huggers, and that's where all the chaos begins.
Impact event in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I want to start off with the cast. The cast was really good for this film. It's pretty small, with the standouts being Cailee Spaeny, in my opinion, and David Jonsson. David Jonsson especially, he pretty much had me on the edge of my seat as the synthetic Andy the entire film. Cailee Spaeny, now I'm familiar with her. The only other film I've seen her in was Pacific Rim Uprising, and we all know how garbage that film was. Not the best track record for her going into this, so I was kind of not knowing what to expect from her, but coming out of it, I can tell you this: I need to see Cailee Spaeny in more films, because she and David Jonsson absolutely carried this film on their backs. The other actors in this, Isabela Merced, she actually was really good in this, because I've seen a bunch of films with her. She's in like everything now, but yeah, usually she's like kind of annoying. The scripts don't do her justice, but this, in my opinion, is probably her best performance in any film I've seen her in, period. I've seen her in Transformers: The Last Night. She's also going to be in the new James Gunn Superman film. Just the stuff she's been in, she hasn't really been great, or the scripts haven't really done her justice, but she was really good here for the role that they gave her. And she doesn't really do a whole lot in the film, to be honest. It's really her and this other character named Navarro, who you've seen in the trailers. And no, this is not a spoiler. Everybody's seen the trailers. We all know she gets implanted with the embryo from the face hugger, and then she has the whole big ass crazy chest burster scene, which was insane. I saw this with a packed audience, by the way. Like, damn near the whole theater was packed, and this was an RPX showing on a Thursday night, because I saw this last night, which was technically opening night. You can call this is Friday when I'm recording this, opening day. Her and Navarro probably had the least to do, and the other two characters, which are Tyler and Bjorn, they were cool as well. I like Tyler more than Bjorn. Bjorn's kind of like the asshole type of character. He's like the character in those horror movies you want to die. But yeah, I'm not gonna get into stuff that goes in with Bjorn until we get to the spoiler section. But yeah, all the performances were really good. Cinematography, some of the best of the entire year. Special effects were good when it came to the practical, a bit wonky when it came to the CGI. You can excuse that because this had a budget of, I think, like 40 million, and for a $40 million budget, this is easily one of the best looking films of the year. Like, this film completely destroys all the previous CGI from the Marvel films, including Deadpool and Wolverine. Because Deadpool and Wolverine had some shots where it was just like, how did y'all let this slip? Like, you had Deadpool's sword literally going through Wolverine's arm and then phasing through it and coming out. Like, yeah, just awful. But the CGI in this and the special effects were really good for the most part. There's really one thing that kind of looked off to me, but we'll get to that in spoilers because it's a very spoiler heavy topic. And then yeah, I don't really think I can talk about anything else aside from the stuff that contains spoilers. I think I can maybe touch on one more thing before getting into spoilers, and that's the fact that the xenomorphs, and it's the main one, which is a scorched xenomorph, looked fucking amazing. The practical for that was insane. Also, one more thing. Bro, I hold this opinion, and I think a lot of other people would agree with me. Soundtracks make a film, and the soundtrack for this film carried the film on its back. Like, the soundtrack was amazing, and I knew it was going to be amazing from the moment I sat there and watched the opening credits, and I saw that it was, I think, Benjamin Wallfish. I probably butchered his last name, I apologize, but it's the same guy who did the score for It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2, and he has not missed a beat, because the score for this was probably like my favorite of the entire year. Like it was a really good. The music, when it came in at the right moments, because there's parts in this film where there's just dead silence and there's no noise at all, such as the opening, and then there's parts in this movie where it really ramps up the stakes and the action, and the music ramps up with it, and it really enhances the film a lot. So yeah, shout out to the soundtrack. But aside from that, I think that's gonna be it for non-spoilers. Let's get into the spoilers section. Okay, so spoilers. So we're gonna cover the deaths first, and then we're gonna get into the ending, because aside from that, I don't really think anyone really cares about anything else aside from like the deaths and then the ending explained. Like the general plot line's kind of basic. It's like if you combined Dead Space with Don't Breathe, which the director of this film, Fede Álvarez, also directed. So it's like if you combined Dead Space with Don't Breathe and amalgamated the two, you get Alien Romulus out of that. So if you haven't seen the film and you're going into it, that is what you can expect the film to kind of be like. So let's get into the deaths. So the first person to die in the film was, of course, Navarro, who got implanted with the face hugger. We all saw her death in the trailer. It was like the big one they've been promoting since the first trailer came out. The full chest burster scene, because we saw a little bit of it in the trailer, we got teased. Dude, that scene was absolutely insane, seeing it in full motion in the theater. And when I tell you, like, my whole theater was like gasping at certain points, like it was really good. The practical for the chest burster was amazing. The whole scene, it was just brutal as hell. And then even like Isabela Merced's performance as she's reacting to the chest burster coming out, probably one of the best performances I've seen from her ever. And she should 100% win like a Scream of the Year award, because that scream she gave, it's silenced out in the trailers for, you know, the effect of, you know, getting you to go watch the film. But in the movie, you actually hear the full scream, like the audio's there, you can hear her scream, and it's amazing. And yeah, that whole scene was just wild. So Navarro dies. Then the second person to die is Bjorn. They kind of spoiled his death in the trailers, because if you've seen the trailers, you kind of know how he dies. So it's the scene right after their ship crashes into the other side of the Romulus station, and Bjorn is like injured. He's like limping. He goes to try and kill the xenomorph, who is evolving into its final state. And then he has this like electric stick. He puts it in the pod to try and kill the xenomorph, but it doesn't work. It just kind of like burns its face, which is why it's called the scorched xenomorph. One of the coolest deaths I've seen all year happens. So half of the stick that he uses to burn it is like burnt, because, you know, the xenomorph's blood is acid. Acid starts pouring from the opening. Well, before that, you see the tail. It's like you've seen it in the trailer. The xenomorph's tail, I think, rushes out and stabs his entire like eye out. I forget if it's his left or right one, but it stabs his entire eye. And then he falls on the floor, because obviously he's bleeding out from his eye and it's painful. And then the acid blood starts falling on him. It falls on his face, it falls on his shoulder, it falls on his chest and on his hand. And you literally see, I don't know if this was practical or CGI, his fingers, I think it was like 3 or 4 of them, all dissolve, and you literally see the bone. It's brutal as shit. It is violent as hell. And you see the acid like fall on his chest, and like his chest opens up and then he dies. And then Isabela Merced's character escapes, and that's where we see from the clip that they released, the K's escape clip, her try to get away from the xenomorph, who is now out and running amok amongst the station. Yeah, then the next person who we supposedly think dies, but we'll touch on this when we get to the ending explained, is Kay. We've seen this scene in the trailer too. She's banging on the door once her brother Tyler and Rain and Andy get to her. And Andy, who has been overridden, and spoilers for this, if you've seen the first Alien, you remember the synthetic Ash. It returned, or another version of him, I think. I don't know if it's the same one or another Weyland-Yutani synthetic that looks like Ash. This one's called Rook. It returns in this film too and explains to the main characters in this film the main events of the first Alien. And we learn a lot more about the face huggers in this movie, which is really cool. And this is my first Alien movie actually, so learning about all of this stuff was really interesting. I really want to watch the other ones now. And Kay's the third person to die. The xenomorph like stabs her, drags her away, and she's pregnant as well, which made the scene even more shocking that we all thought she died. So I was like, damn, they really just killed a pregnant woman in this movie. That's crazy to me. She gets dragged away. Then the last three people are Andy, Tyler, and Rain. So we go through the film, go through a little bit. We learn a lot more about what's going on. Some of it ties back into Prometheus. I've never seen Prometheus, but from other people I watch, like Mr. H reviews, I know it ties back into Prometheus. I knew it tied back into Prometheus going back in, so that's how I knew what the whole black goo thing and about the engineers. That's how I knew what that stuff was. So yeah, ties back into Prometheus quite a bit, and not so much Alien Covenant. I'd more so say Prometheus. So I hear if you're not a fan of Prometheus, you probably won't like the ending or half the stuff that is revealed to be on the station that the scientists were working on before they all got killed by the original xenomorph from the first Alien. Probably won't like it, but yeah. So later on, after they get the plasma rifles or the I think it's called the pulse rifle, and they go down to find a way off the station because they only have 47 minutes to get off after, you know, the ship hit it and it like changed its trajectory. It was like 36 hours originally, but then it shortened down to 47 minutes. So they really don't have no time to stay on the ship. They go down, they see this big like tunnel hive thing where like there's dead bodies everywhere. Then Kay's voice, Isabela Merced's character, can be heard, and then Tyler, who's obviously her brother, wants to go save his sister. He rushes in, which was kind of stupid in my opinion. Like, he was very smart about doing a bunch of stuff throughout majority of the film, but that was kind of a dumb decision that I didn't like in my opinion. They should have been more careful, but nonetheless, they find Kay, they break her out. This is where Tyler dies. So the xenomorph is right above him. It stabs him through the chest with its tail, drags him up. You get the reveal that it's not the only xenomorph. There's a bunch of other ones. Surprisingly, there's no queen in this film, but a bunch of face huggers got implanted onto the previous workers there. So that's the explanation for why there's a bunch of xenomorphs, which I thought was really clever given that there's no queen in this film. So yeah, he dies by the little inner mouth thing stabbing him through the face, which was a cool death, by the way. One of the coolest deaths in the movie aside from Bjorn's. So after that, Kay escapes back onto their spaceship, but before she does, there's like this little black thing that the Weyland-Yutani Corporation was working on, a thing that ties back into Prometheus. I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but she stabs herself in the neck with it, and this directly leads into the ending. And Rain and Andy go back down to take out the rest of the xenomorphs, and Andy's already like out of commission kinda because he got dropped by a xenomorph. So Rain goes back down to get him. They kill the rest of the xenomorphs, they get out, go back on the ship, and the station crashes. And we think the film is over. No. So Kay, who I mentioned before, was pregnant, and after she injected herself with the black goo from Prometheus, I'm not sure if it's the black goo, but it's like some like micro substance they found in the face huggers. She injects herself in the neck with it. She's put in the cryopods to go to sleep. A few minutes later, something goes wrong. She's giving birth to her kid already, but it's not exactly her kid. It is like a weird, freaky, disturbing, honestly scariest looking human engineer xenomorph hybrid type thing. And yeah, it was terrifyingly freaky, and it was all like the shots where you see it from afar, it's CGI, but the close-ups were all practical. And they used this like foreign basketball player, I'm pretty sure he's like 7'7", and just the makeup on that dude was insane. It reminded me of like Doug Jones, if you know who that is. He's a big creature actor, but it reminded me of like a Doug Jones type character. Bro, it was amazing. It kills Kay. It like tries to feed off of her, like not try and kill her, but just like feed off her. It's weird. I don't know how to really explain it, but it tries to like feed off of her neck, and then Kay kind of like rejects it, and then it gets pissed, so it like eats her instead. So Isabela Merced's dead, and then Andy tries to help her, gets swiped by its tail in the neck, bodied. Andy's done for, and Rain's the last one. So Rain deals with this creature the same way Ellen Ripley dealt with it in the first Alien. I know what happens in the first Alien. I know I said I haven't seen it, but I know what happens. And they also explain it in this film for you too if you haven't seen the first Alien. So they explained it in this movie, so it is what it is. She drops it into space with like the bottom cargo area of the ship, and then she gets back on, and the ending is very similar to the first Alien, where she logs off with like an audio file, and then she goes into the cryopods, and then the film ends. So that's the ending. So my rating for Alien Romulus, in my opinion, I initially gave it a 9 out of 10, but I think I'm gonna bump it up a little bit more to maybe like a 9.3, 9.4. This was really one of my favorite films of the year, easily the best horror film of the year. It's gonna be very divisive for Alien fans. Personally, I'm not a huge Alien fan. Like, when I say I'm not a huge fan, like, I'm a fan of it now, but I was never like a huge fan before watching Romulus. I was interested in the franchise because of this movie, but yeah, now I would say I'm like a casual Alien fan. Like, I'm gonna watch the other movies now, including Prometheus and Covenant, to see how I like them. But yeah, this film had me very intrigued from beginning to end. I love the lore behind the universe. I know Predator is in the same universe as Alien as well, so that's awesome because I've seen all the Predator movies now. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I want Fede Álvarez to come back and make another Alien film because he did a really good job with this. Next time, I would just say leave the Prometheus stuff out of it because the ending was kind of a left swing. I liked it, but I know it's been very divisive between Alien fans who did not like Prometheus and Covenant, who don't like the ending of this. So yeah, next time just keep the Ridley Scott like weird Prometheus fixation out of it, and you got yourself a good movie, but phenomenal movie from beginning to end. I'm gonna end off this review by giving Alien Romulus probably I'll bump it up to a 9.5 out of 10. It's almost a perfect film with a few flaws, but it's definitely in my top 3 of the year for sure. So if you have seen Alien Romulus, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. And yeah, I'll see you for the outro. Love this film. If you haven't seen Alien Romulus, go see it. It is a must watch in my opinion. It got good word of mouth even after my showing, because when I left my theater, I went to go see this by myself. Everybody was talking about it. So yeah, that's a pretty good sign for what I think majority of the audiences are gonna think. And I'm pretty sure the audience score for this on Rotten Tomatoes is pretty good as well. So yeah, good word of mouth is gonna carry the hell out of this movie, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna do very well at the box office. So yeah, see you in the outro. Thanks for watching, and have a great rest of your day or night whenever you're watching this. Peace. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, as it helps this video perform better in the algorithm and reach more people. Comment your thoughts on this video below. I go through all the comments, so any feedback is appreciated. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, consider making today that day. And when you subscribe, don't forget to hit that bell icon and set those notifications to all so that you never miss a future video. And until next time, this is Jades Corner signing off. Peace.